Hey Jago, how's it going today?
I'm good. How are you? It
Doing really well. Doing really well. You have a good weekend?
was pretty good.
Do anything crazy?
Just had a little family party, so not too much. Just kind of relaxing.
I love it. Sometimes the relaxing days are the best ones.
Agreed. Agreed.
So, I'm excited to talk today. I know that you have been around in the space for a pretty long time and have had your hand in a few different things, and now you're launching a new collection with Girl in the Red Cape. Before we kind of get into your history in the space a little bit, I'd love for you to give a brief overview of the new project.
Yeah. And I got some members of the team here that can also chime in. Yeah. So, Visionary Studios. It's a project development studio here on Solana, and our goal is to bring a bit of legitimacy to the space because we saw that it was kind of lacking. And we're partnering with real businesses to try to bring in mainstream adoption, whether it be Sticky's Finger Joint with the Hungry Robot Chicken Club, or Cards Away Sports with Collectors Club. Um, with Girl in the Red Cape, it's kind of something we've been developing in house with the help of our the artist who created the Genesis NFT, which is his name is Stuzer. And basically, his art is, incredible. It's world building. And when we first saw it, we were like, there's a lot more here. There's a lot of, when we saw our Genesis membership, we saw it and thought that, there's a story to tell here about this girl. And we decided to venture into building it out. And we ended up bringing on Zack Stentz, who's the writer for Thor, X-Men First Class, um, Agent Cody Banks, some big Hollywood movies. And he's been working directly with Stuzer to create a storyline for this project. And we also brought on Lance Reddick. He's an actor. He's in John Wick, The Wire, and some others, but basically has a great voice for the narration of the project. And we're basically going to put out art experience that is going to be segmented into about like 12 different episodes. And yeah, it's probably going to be about a 12-week thing where each week a new part of the series is released, almost like a Netflix series or something like that. And yeah, it's exciting. I don't know if Kyle or Jasper, you want to chime in there, but
I can, yeah, no, I think you explained it really well, actually. I didn't want to jump on you, Jasper. Yeah, my name's Kyle. I'm on the Girl in the Red Cape account, by the way. I'm part of the Visionary Studios team, and I think Jago summed it up really nice. This is a world building art experience. I think the focus is that this can be a much bigger IP than just a kind of NFT collection, and we're trying to take it an interesting approach into that IP development and really invite the community to be a part of it. Like Jago had mentioned, we have Zach and Lance, along with Stuzor to really set the stage and the foundation for really long term experience that we can have a lot of fun and play in.
Jasper, anything to add?
You know what? I think Jago and Kyle, we touched on really what this project is. I just don't think we can stress how excited we are uh, as far as how this is turning out. We're currently in post-production, editing, and seeing this final product take shape is it's been a truly awesome and incredible experience. So we're couldn't be more hyped and excited to get it out to the community. So, I'll let you guys, any questions you have, but thank you again for the platform here. We're always excited to talk about it.
Of course. So I guess my first question is, I know that this is world building, and I mean, the art is striking. How do you build a community around a story and art that is still yet to, is still being created at this time, is still not fully released? How do you not only drum up hype like other projects, but get people excited continuously throughout the entire process?
I mean, I could just touch on this. I think one of the things that lends itself to this is, Jago had mentioned that our Genesis NFT art is really what spawned this project. So since we launched the Visionary Studios Genesis NFT, we kind of, that lore building had really sparked at the time of that mint. Given all of those that minted, we're kind of already asking, what is this image? Who is this girl? And that really was kind of what lent itself to us pursuing that story and searching that out. So I think naturally that kind of occurred within the visionary community. As far as building a community that is not already, familiar with visionary, is something that we are currently working towards. We're currently developing the Discord. We have put out, the intheredcape.com is live, which gives a full breakdown of what this project is and what's, without too much alpha, what's to come. But as far as, creating hype, creating lore, that is something that is currently in the works. I don't know if Kyle or Jago have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think it's such a good question, and I think it's probably one of the one a lot of people, and not just people in NFT community, but also outside of that. There are, I just saw an article that Netflix is looking, to create and find their next iconic franchise. So studios at the top are still trying to figure out where and how you foster a community around IP and kind of build upon it. So our approach I think if you go back and look at Stuzor's art for, over the past 5 years, he first came on my radar when I was working for a sci-fi studio in LA out here, and he was making these incredible pieces of art. And there's just so much scale and world building and storytelling happening in a static visual piece that, it really just naturally caught my eye. And again, like, being able to bring on a storyteller and his own right with Zack Stentz, who's done this, who's built he wrote the first world of Thor. Look at where Thor is at now, and kind of laid that foundation for a huge franchise there. And I think what he's he's established in our story is just that building block, that spark that is really needed to get people to really gravitate towards a story and an IP, and kind of fall in love with it or want to go tell more stories within it. So I think there's the element of, hooking people into that and letting them experience this week over week where, as World 1 comes out and then we sit and we chatting in Discord with Zach, with Stuzor, talking about what's going to come up next, what are the little Easter eggs that he's put in there, the cliffhangers that he's, crafted in the story. So it's, we're trying to allow people to really become immersed, and we really want to start, every really touch point that people have within this world, whether it's the Discord or the Twitter, they feel like they're, in a theme park, if you will, like, Star Wars land at Disney World, where, you become super immersed. And Stuzor is building these worlds in Unreal Engine, which really opens the door for us to actually allow people to go walk around these worlds and, create a metaverse, if you will, where people can explore the parts of the world that you don't really see in the visuals that we have, but you may have noticed something in one of the NFT frames, and you can go kind of meander throughout that. So I think there's a lot of tools for us that we can then lend to the community to allow them to go build this with us and kind of get them excited to join us on that.
I'd also just add to that outside of trying to build community and hype leading up to the release, the structure and the format that we're going to be utilizing for this project with the week-to-week releases, mimic old TV. And I think, our hope is that the community in itself will generate and drive that kind of hype and, talking, because there will be those cliffhangers, things of that nature that will drive, conspiracy theories, people trying to figure out where the story is heading, almost like a Lost. And so, leading up to the project, obviously, the hype, the community building is essential. But I also feel that throughout the release of this project, that will occur naturally as well within the community, which we're excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that one of the really cool things is how there's so many different types of media being explored based on this one piece. And it leads me to wonder, had you wanted to do a project like this and we're just looking for the right artist or the right piece before launching it, or was the piece itself really the catalyst?
It kind of all just came together. I wouldn't say we were actively looking for a project exactly like this. No, we were pretty much just looking to partner with, real legitimate businesses, and like we did with Stickies. And, when we started after the Genesis membership, we were just looking at the art. We made a good relationship with Stuzer, and we're like, let's build this into something great. And Kyle had some great connections. He worked out in LA and Hollywood in his past life. And, so he's had some great connections to agents, and we were able to, put together an A-class lineup for this.
Yeah,
I was kind of.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just gonna say, Jago touched on an interesting point there. Of it kind of came together very naturally, and the artwork was so powerful that when we put it in front of Zack, he instantly kind of knew where to take it, and that was a really fun, reaction to get. Is even though it feels like a long shot approaching somebody with a Web3 project. He really responded and jumped right into it. So that was that was a super bullish in our regard of like we were on the right path for this project.
Yeah, and Zack is really enthusiastic about this. He thinks it's almost like a pivotal moment in his career, breaking away from the studios that he worked for and kind of being able to have creative control over his storyline, and he sees this as just like a real future way to build out, IP, and he's real pumped about it. So really happy to have him on board.
So this is kind of a cool mix where, it's obviously not just a PFP project, but it's not quite just one of one art either. It's very immersive. So I guess what's the target customer and how are you focused on acquiring them for this?
So, I mean, that's a great question, because I wouldn't, and I think the team would agree, we wouldn't consider this, a PFP project. And we would also say that, in the Solana space in general, this project doesn't necessarily fit the mold that we're really used to seeing. We felt that this project really was an opportunity to kind of explore what Web3 offers as far as from an IP world building playground, really. So for us, this was more kind of exploring what we think, the Web3 Solana space and even Ethereum space, I know on previous spaces we've mentioned that we are, chain agnostic, and finding the right shoe for this project is still something that we're discussing. But it's interesting because to us, it's a project that is very different to those that we have seen. So I'm trying to think of, as far as finding the right community for this, I truly think that this project could be for anybody that appreciates art, anybody that appreciates sci-fi, media, entertainment. It's something that we're still pursuing and certainly going to hopefully discover.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, for most of our projects, the target audience is not really the
Oh,
I think we
did
lost
I
you,
rug or did
Jago.
you rug?
Yeah, I think we lost Jago.
Oh, okay.
It's a good film, something like that. Yeah, like we want to bring people into the space, and we think this is a way that we could get people, that are interested in movies, interested in, world building. Like, say, there's people who are fanatics of Lance Reddick, and if they see that he's launching this project, that they might get into this, and this might be their first NFT experience. And things like that, where we're going to be onboarding people and reaching audiences that are outside of the existing space is really what we're looking to do.
Yeah, it's a unique. I think it was one of the last Twitter spaces that were really talking about one art that kind of clicked with me, that this also has such an appeal to just the pure art collectibles crowd and that audience alone. So I think that we're going to have to segment our marketing approach and hit all of these audiences, which I think it can be a tricky task, but something that we're at least aware of and targeting that. There is a Film 3 audience over mostly on the East crowd. I see you have the Bored Ape profile there, and I'm friendly with the founders of the Jenkins of LA project, and I think what they're doing and how they're building out their world and lore, and even expanding it past just the Jenkins character is super innovative, and I have a lot of respect for those guys. So we can take a similar approach in finding that kind of core audience who does want to go on an adventure like this. And you're right, this isn't a PFP project. We're laying the foundation in the sense of the worlds that will be explored, and then the characters that will be within that will be coming soon. So I think there's also an element of gamifying this, where this will be the first of kind of many stories to be told within the larger Stuzor universe, if you will. I think this is just one interesting character that Stuzor's created over these years, and there's so much more to be told there. So there's more characters to be explored, and PFP projects, whether it's in that right, or even going onto a different medium in the graphic novel space or the podcast space. So I think that it just opens the door for us to move into a large number of mediums and hit each one of those audiences as we do that.
I was going to say, looking into the project before the spaces, it hit me like this was an ETH project, so much more than a Sol project. And, obviously that's just preconceived based on my experience on both chains. But, you mentioned that you were chain agnostic. Have you thought a lot about that so far? And, why have you decided to launch on Solana?
So, I mean, we want to bring something new here because we see what's going on in the NFT space, and it's almost just like a circle of garbage, just staking, breeding, and just nothing real in the space. And we admire these type of projects in the Ethereum space and wonder, why can't anything like this happen on Solana? And part of the name and Visionary Studios, we want to kind of be ahead of doing things and bringing in new metas, and we hope that maybe this will open the door to new projects like this on Solana. But then also it's just when it comes to Solana, you're able to do a lot more. You're able to bring a lot more utility, they say, to your holders by, with the transaction costs and stuff like that. So if we ever wanted to go gamify this in a way that rewards the holders, we think Solana would probably be best for that.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I mean, Visionary Studios as a whole, as far as launching on Solana, and the reason behind it, a sizable chunk of our, projects that we have in development involve in real life businesses and Web 2 benefits and utility. And, for that, as Jago just touched on, makes a lot more sense from a transactional standpoint with cost, having those projects developed on the Solana blockchain. So, but as stated earlier, being chain agnostic, I think we also agree that, in looking at really the level of quality of this project and what we're used to seeing, it certainly struck us as well as, this looks like an Ethereum project. And so we're hoping to kind of break that meta.
And maybe we'll get some eyeballs from the ETH community into the Sol community because they might see the quality of the project that we're bringing into Solana NFTs, and it might be something that they're interested in. But believe that Solana is going to be one of the real mainstream adopted chains when it comes to NFTs. NFTs have been around for about 1 year now. Ethereum NFTs 7 years old now, and I just see the Solana ecosystem absolutely booming, and it's good to get ahead of that. I know that right now a lot of this kind of projects are happening on ETH, but I think that we could have a first mover advantage by being one of the first of this type happening on Solana right before a big boom of mainstream adoption here on Sol.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, frankly, it would have been easier on ETH, right? Because there's already similar, or at least like theoretically similar ideas there. But there's nothing like it's completely groundbreaking here. So I'm really happy you chose Solana because you're introducing everyone here to something really different, which I think is great for the space, right? So I'm glad you decided to take the maybe a little bit harder route and try it over here instead.
With today's auction of John Lay's one-of-one piece, I think was a good indicator that there is people who do love the artwork and that kind of that level of quality can really gravitate or be found here. So that was a great sign, and there's to us there was inspirations of Girl in the Red Cape. Maybe we're just making that because we're biased in that regard, but that was a very great sign this morning, and we're excited to really put Stuzor and his work on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty incredible. I mean, not only was it 2,500 Solana raise on additions, but I think with secondaries it was another 1,000 Sol within the first few hours, which is just extremely impressive. And frankly, I didn't know that Solana had that in them. I am really surprised by it, and frankly really happy, pleasantly surprised. And John is a great guy, and I'm happy for him, and hopefully he's the first of many artists to be able to do this. So how did the team form, and tell me a little bit about the background of each of you?
Sure, Jay. could jump on this. So we're a team of 6. I would say of the 6 of us, 5 of us or 4 of the 6 have known each other for going on almost 15, 20 years. Kyle's out on the West Coast. We've known Kyle now for over a decade. And then we also have TG3, who is a well-known figure in the Solana space as well, who also happens to be an attorney and, was a perfect fit with the team. We all kind of come from different backgrounds. As, mentioned earlier, Kyle had ties to the entertainment industry. I'll let him go a bit further on that. Myself and Brian on the team, B Merv, both come from entrepreneurial backgrounds, both in, the finance industry. Oldak also coming from the finance industry as well. And then obviously Jago, who we all know. But we all, came together. There were, looking into the Solana space, and we had a group text going for a while, and finally hit a moment where it dawned on us that, with all of our backgrounds, why aren't we, pursuing this space and trying to grow something and build, an actual business, an actual company. And it really kind of just took on a life of itself. And now here we are, about 10 weeks removed from our mint, and, have already formulated numerous partnerships, have had 2 successful mints, and have like 3 or 4 projects in development currently, one being Girl in the Red Cape, which is currently in post. But it's been busy. I personally, you see a lot of FUD around projects that mint, and, when a lot of that WEN, when are you going to do something? And I mean, I wish people could see behind the scenes, because we are grinding. But yeah, I'll let Kyle and Jago do a deeper dive on their background. But that's kind of the gist of Visionary Studios.
Yeah, I can quick jump in. Jasper touched on it. I've been out here in Los Angeles for a little over 10 years now. It seems a lot longer than that, but I've been working, in the film industry in some capacity, whether it's kind of marketing, community building. I helped build up a sci-fi brand called Dust, and got to work with a number of indie filmmakers who are super talented. And, whether they're working on a short film or just an indie feature film, they're always looking for distribution and ways to connect with a community and an audience to support their work without, having to give up their IP rights and give up their, story they've worked so long for, to a studio that can then go kind of capitalize on it without, ever really sharing the perks of that, or the fruits of all their labor. So, when Web3 kind of came along, I was mostly interested in or following the ETH projects. Jenkins was one of my first NFTs that I got, and I was just, again, super inspired by the approach they're taking, and I think the film industry is just ripe for disruption. The models are very antiquated and not really creator friendly, and I think this new technology is really going to allow us to remove the middlemen and connect creators and visionaries with their community, and allow a kind of two-way street of benefits to come from that, and not just a one-way approach from it. And it's just super excited to be building in it, and that's why when I knew these guys were kind of putting something together, I wanted to jump in and go full force, because the opportunity is now to be building. And again, I'm personally interested in looking at these as a flip or anything like that. I rarely ever buy anything or mint anything to flip it, but I think building in this space is just so fun, and you get to work your ass off and pave the way for a kind of whole new system. So that's what I'm excited about.
And yeah, so I've got pretty much a crypto background. Been in cryptocurrency for about a decade. Got into Bitcoin in 2012. Got instantly hooked, and just went down the rabbit hole the last 10 years of just watching this space develop and trying to be a part of it any way I can. This is my first actual venture in the space, and I'm excited to actually, create a business in the space and help bring some change to the world. I got into crypto because I thought that it was, a tool to really, better humanity when it comes to, financial sovereignty and ability to take money back into your own hands. And, you know, I think that NFTs are a great way to do that with a whole lot of other things. So Bitcoin did it with money. I think NFTs can do it with a lot of assets, and excited to see what we can do here at Visionary.
So you mentioned that there were a lot of other projects that you had going on too, and I'm not going to ask you about those yet because, obviously I'm sure they're still in production and you can't wait to leak them later on. But what else do you see in the space that's lacking? What would you like to see in the space moving forward that you haven't seen yet?
Well, like I said earlier, like what we saw that was lacking was legitimacy. And like right now, we're just seeing a lot of fundraisers for, vague roadmaps, most likely teenagers raising a bunch of money, probably multiple times on their third, fourth projects, and then just taking the money and taking it out of the ecosystem. We wanted to bring some legitimacy that's going to bring people into the ecosystem. For instance, one of the projects that's not under the wraps right now, Hungry Robot Chicken Club, working with Sticky's Finger Joint in New York City. They're a fast casual restaurant with 13 locations, and basically they have Manhattan covered. There's, I think, 10 in Manhattan itself, in every single neighborhood of Manhattan. So the foot traffic of, millions of people going by are now seeing, on the board, you have a QR code, buy a Hungry Robot, NFT on Solana, get great rewards, and once this gets out and locals start to see that they could go hold this NFT and then just have, awesome buy one, get one free deals and half price deals and stuff like that, where, they'd be paying full price anyway if they didn't have it. I think it's a great way to start bringing adoption on a whole new level to people that aren't in the space yet.
Yeah, I mean, my personal thought, and I know, a lot of people aren't fans of, bridging to Web 2, but I wish there were more projects seeking that, because I find that, especially in the Solana space, NFTs and the utility that they can offer, whether it be for small businesses, um, it it's such an opportunity to not only, show what this space can do, but to really like mass onboard Web 2 users into this space, which obviously, would be extremely amazing. I mean, as people that are already in the Web3 space on the Solana blockchain, to see mass adoption and using these NFTs for in real life utility, I think would just be that's what I wish, or I would hope to see in the next coming months and years, from this space.
So with chicken robotics, I think that it's such a cool idea to set up an NFT project with a real stop. Sorry, just making sure my dog doesn't kill himself by accident. Um, I think that it's such a cool idea to have an NFT with a restaurant. Do you want to walk me through that just a little bit before we hop back in the girl in the red cape?
Yeah, for sure. So it actually started, I don't know if you are familiar with Foodie Friends. I launched basically a meme collection back in the day, which had pictures of food that I ate. One of them being chicken tenders from Sticky Fingers Joint in New York City. And it ended up selling at the time for maybe like 20 Sol, which was like $1,500 or something. And in the tweet, I tagged Stickies, and they saw it, and they thought it was incredible, and they reached out and said, "Hey, maybe we should make our own NFT." And he said, "Hey, I might know a guy who's actually got a Web3 development company." And from there we got into some meetings, and boom, here we are minting. So basically, it's the first of its kind restaurant chain using Solana NFTs as a digital rewards pass. And you hold an NFT. There's 2,222 of them, and holding one will give you access to benefits from the restaurant, such as deals, exclusive merch, events. They're known to host some great events throughout the city all the time, and like the holders will be VIP at those events. And they essentially are partners with Lunchbox, who is their online ordering system, and that's one of the key partners here, because they have hundreds of other restaurants that are looking at this and seeing if it's successful. They might go and do the same thing. And Lunchbox has helped us build out this dashboard where claim rewards codes that you could use on the food by connecting your wallet and verifying that you got a robot. And they're planning on introducing this to some of their other clients and kind of white labeling it and bringing it out to more restaurants, and kind of bringing Solana NFTs, making that a household thing when it comes to digital rewards, memberships at restaurants. So we think the potential for it is huge. And we also are looking into ways for people that are not near a location to sell their codes to people that are near a location, so that the people near the location could get a cheap, nice deal. Person who holds the NFT, who's maybe in another country, can get some passive income or so from selling off their codes. So that's a potential that we're looking into, and yeah.
And I mean, just to add to that, one of the cooler things about this project, from like the Web 2 point of view, is for Stickies and for a small business to take the leap into this venture. 9 times out of 10, when they're doing promo codes or advertising, with giveaways and discounts and coupons, that's an expense allocation for them. That's marketing and advertising, getting into print and online. Doing it this way not only is going to get eyes on their business, more than likely going to grow a following of loyal customers who are going to most likely naturally, by word of mouth, talk about this project and talk about hey, I just got an NFT that gets you savings. But from the business's point of view, it's turning an expense allocation into an income allocation, where the mint is in effect generating a new revenue stream for the business, which I think as more Web 2 businesses start to make that realization, I think that is what will also, in the end, lend itself to hopefully mass adoption of these kinds of projects. So super exciting just seeing that opportunity be there for small businesses as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's crazy. Not to give them whatever. So next week I'm gonna be sponsored by Air Baltic, which is like the official airline of Latvia. So
Nice.
like this is like real companies are coming, and they're coming to Solana NFTs. So first Stickies, then Latvian Airlines, but who knows what's next, man.
As long as all of Solana says it that way. First Stickies.
So one thing I'm absolutely struck by is the barbell, I guess. I don't know how else to say it, of chicken pictures and visionary studio pictures of Girl in the Red Cape and how divergent they are. So you're playing on both sides, right? How are you able to, I guess, work your way through such different projects, right? On really different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge that we're, always looking to find ways to attack. And it's going to continue as more projects that come out, especially when you see some of the ones we're working on. They're completely different markets than even what we've got, and it's exciting to venture into new spaces because in each of those different areas, it's a whole world of people that don't know anything about NFTs, don't know anything about crypto, and it gives us the opportunity to really bring them in and hopefully bring them in a way where they succeed and don't run off saying, hey, that stuff's a scam, crypto's a scam, just because they got wrecked once or something like that. We really want to bring people in and let them experience it in the right way. We've created educational content, basically basic Solana, how to set up a wallet, how to set up a Discord account, wallet safety, just real basic stuff. And we could use that in almost any one of our areas that we go into, whether it be the sports space, whether it be the music space, whether it be the food space. But yeah, when it comes to the art itself, there is going to be tons of contrast between the projects that we put out because they really don't have a relation to each other in any way, other than the fact that they're developed by the same development studio.
Yeah, and I think a part of that too stems from, how diverse the 6 of the team members' backgrounds are. To date, all of the projects that we have, either that have minted or are in production or we're currently pursuing, really all stemmed from organic networking and connections that we had from our Web 2 professions. And with that, obviously we have like criteria that if a project checks off all those boxes, we already have the validation that the people pursuing this project and looking to either partner with us or have us advise and consult them on pushing this project out, that validation is there. These are people we trust, people we know. And whether it's, cartoon robots that are associated with an in real life chicken store, or if it's Ethereum quality art and storytelling by the Zack Stentz, who wrote the screenplay for Thor, as long as it checks off that criteria and we feel that it is a project worthy of being put out into the community by Visionary Studios, it's on. We're into it. So I kind of love the fact that our portfolio is as diverse as it is.
Well, it's certainly diverse. So, look, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about tonight that I haven't gone over? And if so, let's talk about it now.
I don't know, boys. Anything?
Does anyone have any questions or
Yeah,
anything?
I guess
'Cause,
any questions from the floor or anything?
pop in. I think to touch on that point just a little bit, at the core of each one of these projects, there's always this focus on, are we innovating in the space, and kind of are we onboarding new people into the ecosystem, and instead of just trying to suck liquidity out of other projects. I think that's what our kind of foundation is all about, is not to chase meta. We want to make the meta, and it's a kind of, it can be more challenging to go about that path, like you said. I think Girl in the Red Cape would be an easier sell on the Ethereum with the built-in audience there, but it's if we're true believers in the space and where Solana can head, then we need to kind of pave that path forward with it. So we always love talking with other projects as well who are innovating and building, and we hear the tech that they're working on, and it's kind of inspiring for us as well, of how we can further advance our projects. So
yeah, I'd like to touch on just another project that we actually partnered with. It's called Collectors Club, and it really strikes what we're trying to do here. Basically, Collectors Club is a project built by Cards Away Sports, which is a successful IRL card shop in Minnesota. They sell, trading cards, Pokemon cards, all the kinds of collectibles, autographs, memorabilia, stuff like that. And they were big into the NFT space and decided to launch Collectors Club. And it's basically a project that's centered around sports collectibles and memorabilia. And holding a Collectors Club puts you into basically a club where you're able to win giveaways on a almost daily basis, from PSA graded Pokemon cards to packs of baseball cards, autographs, stuff like that. And they've got some exciting projects in the works, including their Gen 1 collection. But we've partnered with them on a project that we feel like is going to be pretty groundbreaking in the way people experience the minting process and the experience acquiring NFTs. And it's taking a traditional way of doing things and bringing it here to the Web3 space. Really excited to bring that out. Can't really say more of how it's going to work, but keep an eye on Collectors Club, because it's another one of those projects that has,
I think we lost you there.
It's not going to go down whether the NFT fails or not, and they're going to continue providing value to the core community around them. So,
and I think we'd be remiss not to mention, talking about the diversity of the portfolio with Girl in the Red Cape, Hunger Robot Chicken, Collectors Club. We also have a partnership with Solo Fox, which is a lore building 2D video game that is on the Solana blockchain. That was one of our early partnerships. Incredible team behind Solo Fox, and they just, I know, launched, I believe, their Gen 1 collection, and they have a couple new maps that are coming out. So, something we're equally as proud to have in the portfolio. So I would just say go check out Solo Fox.
Yeah, Solo Fox this time week just launched their first live gameplay. It's one of the first gamified quests on Solana, where it's not just an idle quest.
Hey.
It's actual gameplay, and you play as your NFT in the game. You go defeat levels of enemies, and if you get to the end, there's a boss battle. You defeat the boss, and you could win some soul and some NFTs. So it's a play to earn experience, and it changes the questing landscape here on Solana a bit, because it actually is an active game, and it has a lot of MapleStory vibes. So.
Yeah, and the graphics are killer. It's just a great looking game.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Obviously, I hope that everything goes really well. Can't wait to see the first installment. And I am just really excited for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us the platform. Really appreciate it.
I would just say, if you can, give a follow to In the Red Cape. At In the Red Cape, we'll be posting, we'll be doing a bunch of AMAs. We have some cool different little panel ideas that'll be coming out, in the coming weeks. So we're super excited.
Amazing. All right, everyone, have a great night and take care, and follow everyone up here, including Girl in the Red Cape. Take care.